Hi, my name is Terry Lee from Sweet Pea Papers and the Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group, and this is my LineDotArrow design team project for April of 2023. There's going to be another one in the middle of the month, but it's a surprise. I'm not going to talk about it. Just a tease so that you will pay attention. This is called Antique Lace and Roses. It's a 28-page kit. It's shabby chic. So we'll try to do something shabby chic with it. I have not decided, as usual, what we're going to make. So there's quite a few pages, and I love this one with the dog and the little girl sleeping. Now, I've marked all these as usual when they come out of the printer, because I haven't printed the backs yet, what the corner that I need to know, so that when I put them back in the printer to print on the back, they'll be right side up. Okay? So that's what, when you see these little black marks in the corner, that's not like a problem with my printer. That's just me and my Sharpie marker marking all the pages. Okay? Alright. So we've got book page, and this is a UK size. So you're going to turn off your fit to page, and you're going to turn off your borderless, and then you'll get pages that are the correct size, which is like this. If you use your fit to page or your borderless, you're going to lose the edge of your pictures. You don't want to do that. This is like a backing page, and another one. And here's another book page. Usually I have them sorted. I haven't gone through and sorted them yet. Here's a writing page, and something that looks like it might possibly end up being the cover. If we do a book, I'm not sure what we're going to do. It's a lot of pages. Collage page, backing page, or just a double page, another collage page, and a couple backing pages. These are the same in two different colors. Then we come to all the ephemera, and there's tons. I like this border. Nice envelope, another little border. And her slanted pockets that she puts in. These are pretty. Little scallop tags. A couple of chandelier fussy cuts and a couple of mirrors. This is the small version of a couple of the big pages that I just showed you. In fact, I believe it's 4 pages. Small version of the slanted pockets. Small version of the mirrors, the fussy cuts, and the envelope with the 2 pieces. If you're like me, you can always use that smaller version. And then some more fussy cuts. These flowers are pretty. You'll notice she does have the small black border around for us scan and cut folks. Oops, and there's another backing page that I missed, and here's another fussy cut page. How nice. Are those the same in different sizes? They are. This is the small version of this one. Okay, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do. All I've done is print this out. I haven't printed it on the back yet or any of that good stuff, but I think I don't know what I think yet. I'm going to have to sit down and take a look and see what I've got and decide how I'm going to print them on the back and all that good stuff, and sort the ephemera out and see what I need to print on the back of. Some of it I won't need to. Yeah. So I will be back in just a minute and we will begin our project. Okay, so it's Antique Lace and Roses. It's a very, very pretty kit and it's very large. It's 28 pages. All right, I'll see you in just a sec. Okay, so now that I've trimmed all the papers down and everything, and I've got the Lucky Frog out, so let's rub the Lucky Frog because we may need him. This one I want to use as the cover, and so I didn't do anything to this but trim the white edges off. And when I say that, you'll see what I'm talking about here in just one second. So when I made a mistake on this one and it's too narrow, so I'm keeping this just in case. Just, you know, if we have a page we're going to cover most of it or something like that instead of using one of our other papers. So then when you looked at the papers with just the white trimmed off, they came out to 10 and some 16th off of a half, or 5/8 and a 16th, or some crazy number that I didn't want to try to figure out what half of it was on the pages that didn't have this little, you know, area that we could just cut in half. So what I did was I cut them all down to 10 and a half. Okay, so I took a little bit off of each end on the ones that it made a difference. So if it didn't make a difference with the pattern, like on the collage pages, except for this one, because it did make a difference, then I cut a little off both ends. But anyway, suffice it to say, I made them all 10 and a half inches wide, and then they came out to 7 and a half inches tall. So we're going to go with the 7 and a half inches tall. That's 3 3/4. So and you'll notice that the backing papers appear to be a little bit longer, which it doesn't matter because we cut those up. So now I want to make a manila folder project. To make it this height, we're going to end up cutting the tabs off. So let's set these to the side for right now. Let's see, I'm going to set those like that. And so we'll get our folders out. Now these are used, obviously I use them for something else. It doesn't matter. We're going to cut them off. We want to cut them off to 7 3/4, because 7 and a half and an eighth and an eighth on the top and an eighth on the bottom is going to be 7 3/4. Yes. So let's do that first. That was kind of loud. You want to cut the top off, not the bottom. You want to keep the flap. I mean the fold. 7 3/4. Okay. Then we're going to cut them, instead of making one when we fold it in half into a pocket and the other one into a flap, we're going to try something different this time. I don't know if it's going to work or not. We'll just have to wait and see. And on a side note, I had some dental work done and it irritated my sinuses on that side, so if I sniffle throughout the whole thing, I apologize. Don't worry, I'm not sick or anything. I just feel like I can't breathe on one side. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fold them in half. And try to hold this so it doesn't slide when you fold it. You see how that slides? Should have left a hair to trim just in case. And then you want to make sure it's straight across the bottom. You don't have to bone folder it, but just kind of give it a good... Okay, let's fold this one in half. I did take some Tylenol, and the Tylenol that I have, or the generic acetaminophen that I have, has caffeine with it. Woohoo! So, isn't that funny? I turned it over the other way and it... Okay, now we're going to open it back up, and where the fold is, we're going to cut it to the fold. So where our crease is, I mean, you know, where we folded it in half, we're going to cut it down to this fold right here. And we're only going to do it on one half. Do you know what I mean? Don't do it on both. Just do it on one side. I'm wondering which one's going to be easier to see. Okay. Now, there's going to be, this is where I always end up with it crooked, but you see where there's that extra and it doesn't really want to fold flat. So we're going to need to cut just a smidge off of this. So on this one, it looks like the little bit of a lip is on this side. You know, where you cut it down the center, or the almost center in my case. So I'm going to want to cut the little bit off of this side, because I don't want that little ridge there. So I folded this back under to keep it out of the way. And then I'm going to cut a little bit off of this. Just down to that center point. And then fold this up. Get it untangled from your scissors. Cut it off. So we're going to do the same thing on this one. We're not going to cut this one for a pocket. We're going to cut either one for a pocket. We're going to leave them long. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to quit talking completely so that I can concentrate. Looks like it got a little closer there at the end. Let's take a look and see. I think it's going to be all right. You want to make sure that they can fold. And one of them, so now we've got, let me start with that other part first. So now we got two folders, cut the same. Yeah, this one's got more than this one. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I think that this one's going to come out where it doesn't have enough. There we go. That's better. In fact, this one's better than this one now. But anyway. So what we're going to try to do this time, instead of having two flip downs, I want to try to have one flip up and one flip down. And that means we're going to have to turn one of these upside down. Haha. So, let's see what that does. So if we've got them like this, and we're going to glue them together, then this makes the opening at the bottom on this one. So we'll glue this here and here, and that will give us our side pocket. And then if we glue this one, this is going to be our flip down. Yeah, so then when we glue them together, instead of a side pocket, we'll glue them together so that it makes a top pocket when we glue them together. So when we glue this folder, then we're going to, what did I just say? Glue the bottom and the middle. Okay, so now that I've figured all that out, I don't need to do that yet. I'm going to put you on pause, and I'm going to ink these up. Now, you have to ink them everywhere, even though you know that you're not going to see parts of it, because from the edges and stuff you can see, and you know, like for pockets and stuff, and you're like, oh, well, you don't see that, it's glued together, it's a pocket, but you actually can see inside the pocket a little bit. The bottoms here, one of them you're going to see and one of them you're not. You might as well just take your brush and ink the whole thing. It takes 2 seconds, and that way you make sure to get the right side inked, or the correct side inked. Okay, so I'm going to use Vintage Photo. I was going to go ahead and use Gathered Twigs, but I think with our paper color, I don't know though. Some of them are dark. Well, we're going to be using lace, so it's probably not going to matter. So let's just do Vintage Photo. And you're going to want to do these edges here. Make sure you get all the edges, and make sure you get this seam where it's folded, even though there's no cut. And do that on the inside and the outside. Make sure to get this seam right here. Okay? All right, I'll see you in just 1 second. Okay, so now I've made a couple of notes on here, and I've done a couple of things, and we'll go over it because I decided that it wasn't enough that I would turn the camera back on when I did it. But hopefully you have not been following along in crafting before this section. You're going to watch the whole first video through, because you'll discover, like I did, that the whole thing was too wide by about 3/4 of an inch. I have no idea, you know, once we cut the papers in half. Now we could have left the papers full size, like the backing papers are. This one, I wanted to cut the picture like out of the center, and I didn't want to just cut the page in half, because I actually did that. And I didn't like this unless this was the side that there was going to be lace on, because remember, this is shabby chic, so we're going to try to do some lace and pearls. So I did the same with this one, because I figured for a writing card or something like that, we would want to cut it here, or I don't know, cut the little girl off and cut it over here, so that we got the butterfly. So I left it whole, and then these are the backing paper, or this is one of them. There should be two. In fact, this is this one. There should be a pink one somewhere. Oh, this is the tan one. This is the pink one. Okay, so we've got these 4 whole papers and a bunch of little papers, and we've got our acetate, of course. Pictures like this, you know, you don't want to cover up with a pocket unless it's a hidden pocket. So onto the construction. So I had to cut it down, which was fine, because you're going to end up trimming it just a smidge to make it all level, or not level, but even anyway. Okay, because folding it in half, you're going to have that little section that sticks out or didn't fold without sliding or something like that. Then I labeled the front cover by determining where I wanted our flip down to be. Okay, so then if I want the flip down to be in the first section, then that makes this the cover by default. So I wrote down that it was the front cover. Then they're going to be obviously glued together here, because our flip up is going to be over here. You know what I mean? We could have turned it this way and made 2 flip downs. You know, that would have worked just fine and dandy, but I didn't want to do that. I want to do something different this time. And so that determined, and since we're flipping this one over, I wrote that where the top was, because it can be a little discombobulating because of the closure being at the top. So I wrote where the pockets were going to be, and this one's going to be a side pocket. Then we're going to have a side pocket where they're glued together, and we're going to have a top pocket here. So now we need to glue these 2 together, and when we do that, you know, we don't have to glue them together and leave a pocket, do we? It's always fun if you do, though. So let's glue them together. Should we do the other pockets first? Let's. Okay. So I also wrote where to glue, where I was going to glue things. You can see I inked everything. Oh, the other thing I wanted to tell you was I cut about a 1/4 of an inch off where the top pocket's going to be, instead of cutting a thumb hole here. Then I cut 3/4 of an inch off for the flip down, because I want to put a tab on it, and I'm going to ink this, but I want to put a tab on it just for fun, and I want to do it before I put the paper on. Now, you don't have to. You can put it on after and it looks fine too. But I wanted to put it on before we papered it, and that's the same, the exact same for the flip up. And then this is going to be a side pocket, so we don't need to make this shorter because the card will have a tab that sticks out. Okay? So we don't have anything trimmed here except for the flip up, so we can put a tab on that. We have to remember, I better move this, the tab's going to cover it. M with a circle means we need a magnet. Magnets are not always enough to hold it. So sometimes we put them on and they get buried under the paper and then we find out it's not going to hold, but such is life. Okay, so this is going to be a top pocket. So that means we're going to glue the sides. Even though I inked them, you want to make sure that everything looks inked from the sides. So you want to go ahead and ink them whether you feel like you need to ink it or not. Just go ahead and ink everything. Okay, so now that makes this a top pocket. We're done gluing on that section. This is going to be glued as a side pocket. So we need to glue this side and the bottom. So let's do it this way. Let's glue it here. So we want to glue this side and we want to glue the bottom. And that gives us a side pocket. Let me slide that over just a little bit. This is not the straightest cut in the world. I don't know what to say about that. Now, we're going to glue these together and have a side pocket. So that means we're going to glue 3 sides. Okay? You know, we could glue this together and make a top pocket, because this is a side pocket here. Flip down, top pocket over here. Let's glue it together as a top pocket. Then we'll have a tab at the top. That'll be fun. And put a charm on it or something. It means we're going to glue the 3 sides to make a top pocket. Be able to slide it around a little bit to get it lined up. And then that'll make the outside of this corner here our spine for our little book here. So that means it'll be just like so. Let me show you our flip through here. What's where. So front cover. And you try not to glue anything shut. Open it up. Top pocket. Flip down. Then there's a top pocket here, a side pocket here. Turn this, and there's a flip up here, and then the back cover. Okay, we're going to try to get all this done. Hopefully we will. Now we need to number the pages. So we've got our front cover. I'm not going to count that as page 1. I'm just going to call it the front cover. That makes this page 1. We've got our top pocket. I'm going to flip this down, number this page 2, page 3, and page 4. Okay. I'm going to flip it over. Flip it over, and this is going to be 5. Flip this up. 6, 7, 8, and the back cover. All right, so we got that done. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the 2 magnets, which is really 4 magnets. So we're going to put one here. And we're going to put one right here on this, which is going to hold it together a lot tighter than if we had put it here before we had glued it. So we're going to take another magnet and another piece of tape. Then we're going to put the magnet on there like that. And we're going to lift it up so that we know which side sticks together. And we're going to stick it together with the tape sticky side up. Fold it shut. Smear the tape down so that it sticks to this paper, which I didn't have enough tape on there. Had enough tape for the tape to stick to my finger. You see how that shot away? That means they were not the side that stick to each other. They were the sides that repelled each other. So now that should work. Yeah. This is not the full width tape, so it doesn't stick out, you know, far enough on either side. So that's for that one. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Of course, obviously this will be covered by paper. You can get these magnets 100 at a time for $10.99 on Amazon, and they're 10 millimeter by 1 millimeter. So that means they're 10 millimeters around and 1 millimeter thick. And they do stick to each other. Come here, magnet. And like I said, you get them on Amazon. I think I'm going to add the link to these to the items I use the most list. It may be there already at the bottom of the free PDF that you get. If you're a member of the Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group, I write this all out before I do it. So you can get the step-by-step instructions typed up in a PDF for free in the Facebook group. You also get the album. You get to see the album, which is the pictures of all the pages in there too, if that interests you, other than watching the video. But yeah, you get it for free. If you don't want to join the Facebook group, that's fine. You can go to my Ko-Fi page, and I think for a couple bucks you can buy the PDF. It's funny, I don't even remember how much I put it down there for. I think it's $2. Sometimes it's a little more if it's a little more involved or a bigger book. So there's that. So now let's ink our 2 tabs. So anyway, you want to check those options out. Having the PDF is helpful for following along. You can print it out and then follow along. They're anywhere from 5 to 10 pages long, depending. Let's ink this up. Now I'm going to ink this up all the way. Because these are from cream colored paper and it's not the same color as a manila folder, so I'm going to make it the same color as these edges. Oh, nice. Good job, Terry. Like, why did this not happen on the other side, on the other one? Can't believe I crinkled it up. Okay. Now, we're not going to be able to put charms on these because of the type of book or whatever that we're doing. Because you wouldn't be able to close it unless I had left this longer, and then the tab would have stuck out the bottom. So I don't think I would have liked that either. You only have to do the whole tab on one side and then just the bottom half on the other. I'm just guesstimating the center. That will help show where the flip up and the flip down are. And of course you want the edges, the corners of these to be even with the edge of the folder flap. Okay, so we've got that done. Yeah, and then we cut the non-backing papers in half. Then double check your size. So I think I've got everything done on this list. And we still have 20 minutes to go. So let's start on page 1. Oh, this is the image. I changed my mind that I decided to use for the cover, which is that picture with that cut off. But look at the little puppy dogs. Isn't that just adorable? So, We're going to do a flip-up CD cover. So we need to cover the CD cover. This is going to be our page paper, and it's got this green on it. So I decided to match that up with the CD paper. Oops. And I had to remember this flap is cut down, so I went ahead so that I remembered to ink the top and cut this to size. So I did trim this down smaller than what we had it. Okay, look at that little girl with the flower. That's just gorgeous. Okay, so then my mouth hurts. Yeah, so that's going to be that for right now. So we'll just set it up there. So now for the CD cover, I think the one with the mostly brown in the center is what we'll use for the cover, because we're going to cut a hole in it. Let me get the die for that. That's this 3-inch die. I have a 4-inch. But that's a little too close to the edge. I may practice with the 4 some other time. So we need the paper to be let's cut it for the pocket first. Just going to be on the side. Then we'll measure the paper. Now, this is directional. Just keep that in mind when you glue it on. And, yeah, because this side's going to be a little narrower than this side. Oh, earlier so if somebody knocks at the door, I'm going to run. But, the what do you call it, carbon monoxide alarm started beeped 5 times, and then it would stop, and then it would beep 5 times and stop. And so I looked at the back of it because I was going to replace the battery, and 5 times apparently means that the whole shebang is dead. Now, we don't even have gas, heat, or anything here. So I'm not really sure why we have those, but we do. State requirement, I guess. And maybe for my housing. I'm not sure. Now I am making this where the inking shows. You don't have to, because this is white and these are cream. The manila folder is, well, manila folder colored. So anyway, it beeped 5 times, meaning the whole thing is kaput. And so I called the office and I said, look, I'll just put a new battery in this and pretend like, whatever. If that's what you want me to do, because I'm not totally concerned about it. Now, I know I marked that. Okay, here's this one. Anyway, so they're going to come and replace the whole alarm and put a new one on the wall. So if I have to put you on pause real quick, because they've knocked at the door. No, I didn't drop that for you to eat. Little piece of paper fell on the floor and Oz went for it. If you've never watched any of my videos before, Oz is my dog and he eats paper. Just because. Okay, we're going to get our big shot out. And it doesn't matter in this particular case which side of the paper is facing up, because the little marks from where it gets cut out are on the piece of paper that comes out, which we'll save to use as a card somewhere else. So just put this central. This cuts a hole a little bit smaller than the window, so that you've got a little wiggle room. I always like having a little wiggle room with a CD cover or a window. You usually take an envelope that doesn't have a window and make my own window versus using a window envelope and trying to cut it out. Sometimes I'll collage around one. Oh, I ended up with quite a bit of ephemera, and I knew what size project we were doing, so I didn't even cut out all the pages of ephemera. And I'll show you in a minute. Then we're going to have to ink the cover paper. Oz. And you could be a little sloppy with the inking. This is shabby chic, so you're going to kind of do the corners. Already did that side. You just keep going around and around. Oopsie. This media mat is awesome. It was originally meant to hold paper while you ink it, things like that. But I found that a little piece of it holds your ink pad still, so you can do it one-handed. Ta-da! Da-da-da-da-da-da. You put a button on here, then it can only roll that far. It won't roll around your work area. That is not my tip. That is a tip from JJ with Joy, Journal with Joy. Joy herself gave me that tip. I was like, what are you gluing that on your dauber for? She was like, so it doesn't roll around. I'm like, genius, genius, it's a genius idea. So you should check out her Facebook group. It's JJ with Joy. And she has TikTok and an Etsy shop and, you know, all that stuff that I don't have. So they complement each other. I do have the Facebook group, of course, my own. But No, just because you're in my group doesn't mean you can't be in another group too. I mean, for goodness sake. She does a lot of lives in her group, where I do a lot of YouTube videos. I may start doing some other stuff. It's been a couple years now. Getting a little more comfortable. I don't know, I'm just not... She's fine with the face-to-face and, you know, all that. I don't mind doing lives. I'm going to be doing a live for the group, for the JJ with Joy group, as a matter of fact, this Saturday. Working with envelopes as floating pockets. But, you know, that's just the hands, which need lotion. They're getting a bit wrinkly. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for the back. And as you see, when we cut it, the whole thing came open. So we have to make sure that we glue all the way, cover this plastic too, because it doesn't take ink. So you want to make sure to glue it right to the edge, but not mess up the fold, you know, and not make it so it doesn't fold. So it's kind of a tricky thing. We need to put a magnet on here. That'll hold it down so it doesn't flip up and down. And then we'll do the same thing on the paper. So, you know, let's go ahead and put it on the paper and then cover it. That way we can do our magnet. Get everything all in the right place. Okay. And I want this to be over to the side so the tab sticks out for the pocket. I have just a smidge of the paper showing. Do I want to have a smidge of the paper showing? Maybe not. I guess it's glued down. This paper on here. Oh, for goodness sake. We want to put it on upside down so that when it flips up, it's right side up. Now remember, we want to make this one all the way to the edge, even though the others have a border, because we need to cover up that plastic. So we're going to make it this tall. And we're going to make it this wide. I am going to leave a little border on the edges. Looks like we're going to get the whole thing done in one video. Wow. Look at us go. Oh, we're not going to get the pocket on here, because I forgot to put paper out for that. Wonder if we could make a hidden pocket. Or a semi-hidden pocket. I think we could. So let's glue this on. We'll triple check that we're putting it on right side up. Can't believe I forgot to take my grungy work sweater off. Oh well. You guys will live, won't ya? I bet you will. It was helpful that this darker text was here. So now I want to put this all the way down to cover that white. Close as I can. Without blocking it where it closes. Okay. We won't get it done because I forgot to set paper aside for this. And then we need cards. We need cards. So we'll get the bases done. After all that glue, looks like I missed this little corner. And that's the corner that holds the pocket shut. It's still going to pop open. I don't think so. Okay. And we don't have our lace and stuff on it either. We still got more in the first video done than what I thought we would get done. Now, if you wanted to, since this is a top pocket, we could glue the paper on as a pocket and make another pocket out of that. I'll have to think about that. Don't think I want to, but the more I think about it, the more I want to. Oops. Make the pocket smaller. It's ended up just a little narrower, but we're going to have lace, so get away with that. Okay. You can have little errors when there's lace. So then we can put this on here. Do I want to put it on as a pocket? No. I don't believe I do. Might be kind of fun though, huh? Let's glue it on as a pocket, and then we can always decide by either putting a card in or not. But once we glue it on, if we don't glue it on as a pocket, then we can't ever decide to make it a pocket. I'm not sure that I've glued the papers down as a pocket for the whole page before. Kind of funny that the bottom half of her sticks out. I didn't realize that either. Okay. So now that's glued on. We have 3 minutes left, so let's call it. I'll put the paper on inside here. You just cut the paper and slide it in for the back. And then I'll make a card that slides in and has a tab on it, just like this is a tab. Then this is a pocket here. Well, it's really hard to access though, isn't it? Well, not if you flip that up first. So then that's going to be a pocket. There's a pocket up here. And then I think I'll put an acetate belly band on here before we come back. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a card for here, or use a tag from the ephemera pack. Paper the inside of here, make a card, put a tab on. Make a card, put a tab on. Okay, so I'm going to finish page 1 off camera. Oh, look at the sweet birds. You know, let me think about the glossy accents or something. It would be great on the roses. Let me think about that, and then when we come back, we'll talk about it. Okay? So that's it for this video, and I will see you in the next video, and that will be just a second for you and a day for me. Okay, bye-bye.